Hello, everybody, wherever you may be, from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. Welcome back. This is Ham Radio Live. Thank you so much for coming today. Going to be a very good show, I think, for people who would like to get into ham radio. People who have an interest or maybe just don't know how. You know, maybe have some questions on exactly how it works. Hopefully today's show will help some folks and inspire them to get themselves into our hobby. I want to thank you very much for coming. Thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. It does mean a lot because it helps those exact people find the channel here on YouTube. We have over 500 questions and answers for all three tests, the UK and US tests for ham radio. It is an honor and privilege to do this show for you every day. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Shack in Oregon. My name is Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. Today's going to be a little different show. It's going to be dedicated for people who are not in ham radio, who have questions about how it works. And this may be very different for folks who come normally to the show because we talk about things that we already know about. This is dedicated to people who might want to come into ham radio, who might have questions of how it works. I hope this show helps. I really sincerely mean that. Before I get into that, I would like to say some hellos to some very fine people. John Hummel Newell, brand new ham, studied for his license very hard and got it. Victor Echo 5, Juliet Hotel November. John, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you. Andy Cowley, my mate in the UK. Andy, good evening to you there in the UK. Thank you for coming today, Andy. I appreciate you very much. Tom is here all the way in Bahrain. Tom has two call signs for people who are not familiar with ham radio and how it works. He has an American call sign in the U.S. because Tom lived in Maine. His call sign here in the U.S. is Alpha Echo 1 Tango Papa, as you see there. Also, he has a Bahrain call sign, Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey. So that's why there's two call signs there. Also want to welcome Cliff Bolts. Cliff is here from the Commonwealth of Virginia. His call sign, Whiskey Delta 4 Oscar Bravo Papa. All right. If you would like to get into ham radio, one of the best ways is to start by getting a hold of a national radio club. It could be anywhere in the world. I'm going to give you 5, okay? 5 around the world in different continents. And my hope is that you'll reach out to them and hit them on their Contact Us link and then ask them about how you can get into ham radio. What they're going to do is they're going to get you connected with a local ham radio club and help you get on the air. This is truly the most incredible hobby in the world. It goes back to the early 20th century, and it has just gotten better and better. The radios we have today, we call them transceivers. They're the most technologically advanced we've ever had. And the best part of this is ham radio works on solar cycles on the HF side. That's the side that makes really long calls, okay? This is the time to get in because the solar cycle of our sun is going into a very good time to make wonderful calls around the world and make you new friends all over the world. First of all, the American Radio Relay League can be found at www.arl.org. They're great to help people. Just hit the Contact Us link. In Japan, the Japan Amateur Radio League can be found at www.jarl.org. For our mates in Great Britain, the Radio Society of Great Britain is a wonderful group. They can be found at www.rsgb.org. Great group of people there, and they're extremely helpful. I found the RSGB to be one of the best radio groups in the entire world. Hit them up on the Contact Us section of their page, and they'll help you. They really will. In Canada, same thing. Radio Amateurs of Canada can be found at www.rac.ca. And if you're in Australia, the Wireless Institute of Australia is right there. Hit the Contact Us bar. They'll help you find a radio club. Find them at www.wia.org. If you'd like to email the show, please feel free. Have a question. Maybe you'd like to know how to get into ham radio, or possibly you have a question on a product or your review or whatever. Please feel free and reach me at cqhamradiolive@gmail.com. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. It's truly an honor and privilege today to spend some time with you here on June 8th. Thank you very much for coming. Like I say, a little different today. It's going to be a little different. We're going to work towards folks that aren't in ham radio and would like to get in. Sean, 2 Echo 0 X-Ray Bravo Tango, all the way in Great Britain. Sean, thanks for coming. It's great to see you, man. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to start out and try and explain to folks who aren't in ham radio how this works. You know, when you look at radios today, in amateur radio, if you ever look, you might notice that they go to usually 100 watts. And that just seems kind of silly. Doesn't seem like very much. Let me explain, first of all, how a ham radio works, okay? There's different ways that our transmissions can get to another station, okay? This slide shows really well the different ways. There's space wave, which is basically an antenna to an antenna, okay? So that's going to be fairly local, not going to be going very far. And then there's also the ionosphere. Now, that's what we use on HF and the high part of the medium wave bands. Now, I don't want to confuse you there, but I'll let you know what it means. At the top of your AM radio, you end up at about 1710 kilohertz. That's where you're at. So 1710 kilohertz. Then at 1.8, so just above where your radio ends, is the ham bands. That's where we begin to use our frequencies. For, Morse code, we can use them to send digital text messaging and photos and, slow scan television, all kinds of things, and even make calls with microphones and meet people in different places. That starts at 1.8 megahertz, and then it goes all the way up to 30 megahertz. Now, those types of transmissions rely on what's called the ionosphere, all right? Now, the ionosphere then is going to help to skip those waves. The sun charges up the ionosphere through, of all things, and this sounds very strange to people who might be new or interested in ham radio, sunspots. Yeah, we actually need a lot of sunspots on the sun to help charge up the ionosphere. It helps us to make longer calls. That's true. So there are 3 levels of the ionosphere during the evening. There are 4 during the day. Okay, during the daytime, there's the D layer, and that's really a layer that kind of absorbs signals, doesn't let them go very far. So usually about 7 megahertz. So if you're in your car, right, we talked about the AM dial ending at 1710. Now we're at 7,000. Okay, so imagine your radio going all the way to 7,000. That's really where the D layer of the ionosphere absorbs signals, so they don't go quite as far, all right? Then when you go right about 8,000 or so let's just keep it kind of simple, about 8,000 or so on that same AM radio in your car, let's say it went that high, you're going to be able to punch through the ionosphere because higher frequency waves can go through it. Now you're able to reach the E layer of the ionosphere, which is really high. It's well up over 100 kilometers. And then you can possibly reach the F1 or F2 layers during the daytime. Now, those can be 250 miles above the Earth's surface. Then what we do is the radio signal actually hits that area and bounces back to Earth. Okay, if you have the right angle on your antenna, and most antennas today, if you put them up high enough, they will work 40 feet on wire antennas, and I'll show you one today. And if you're, using just a regular vertical, man, you can be 30 feet, still get really good takeoff angle, and you can work the world with it. You really can, but that's how they work. That's how our radios work, and they work with low power. I mean, even 5 watts can take you thousands of miles, literally, no joke, and it's because the signals bounce up off the ionosphere. Here's another good example of it, all right? Sometimes we have a thing that happens in ham radio called E-skip. Now, E-skip is interesting because the ionosphere, think of it kind of like clouds, all right? There are charged clouds in the ionosphere that are supercharged. They're a lot thicker and a lot more dense, all right? So when we're using very high frequencies, we can hit those layers, and those can actually bounce quite a ways as well, sometimes to another continent. That's not as common as using the ionosphere normally, but it does happen. So that's the way we make our signals go so far, all right? Now, different radios available that are so doggone cool, because I don't want you thinking ham radio is some weird hobby that has ugly-looking radios. Let me show you a few. Here's the Kenwood TS890S. This is a beautiful radio. It's just beautiful. It has a touchscreen on it, has full control of the frequencies, beautiful Kenwood sound out of the speaker. It's a beautiful transceiver. So it's got a transmitter built into it, and it also has a receiver. Has both. And it's phenomenal. This is a beautiful radio. If you saw it, and this just doesn't do it really justice, it's a beautiful radio. ICOM makes a radio called the 7610. That's a full touchscreen, and you can even use a mouse if you want to, and a keyboard. So if you want to type out messages to people, you can type them out and send them. If you don't understand, say for example, Morse code, or you don't understand, say you're using a digital mode, for example, you're using something digitally, well, you can just type your messages, hit send, and the radio sends the message to somebody. See, ham radio is where text messaging started. A lot of firsts happened because of ham radio. Bouncing video off satellites. Now it's common for network television to do that, but that began in ham radio. This is just two of great transceivers available today in amateur radio. Say you want a radio. Now see, the first two I showed you only work the HF bands and the VHF band of 6 meters. Okay, that's it. So those are the only ones. So say that same car radio now goes up to 50 kilohertz. Okay, so now you're way up from 17, 110 on your AM dial up to 50,000. Okay, that's 6 meters. So that's what this radio does, and that's what the Kenwood does. Okay, so they go up to 6 meters. If you're in the UK, they will go up to 4 meters, which is over 70,000 on that same AM radio. But let's say you want a radio that will do both high frequency as well as VHF, okay, because we can do that frequency, those frequencies as well as UHF frequencies. Well, ICOM makes a 7100. It's got a great touch screen, and it's just perfect for your desktop. It has a control unit that you can put just about anywhere, and you can control it simply by seeing the screen, touching on it, and you'll find signals because the screen will actually help you see exactly where people are transmitting. Now, maybe you can't afford one of these, and these aren't that expensive. This is, under an $800 ham radio, brand new. That's how much this costs. And you get the HF bands, VHF bands, and the UHF bands. So you get all three. It's literally a shack in the box. For under $800, this is a brilliant buy. Now, if you maybe don't have that much money, you can get into something like an ICOM 718. Well, that's going to cost you maybe $400, $500 used, and you'll have a great HF radio plus 6 meters, okay? This is one of the radios I have. It's like a shack in the box, so it's very similar to the ICOM 7100, okay? Does the same thing. It'll do the HF bands, it will do the VHF bands, and it will do the UHF bands. This is the Yaesu FT991A. You see the color touchscreen? That's it. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous screen. And bear with me, I said touchscreen, just the bottom part is a touchscreen, but the rest of it, pretty easy to use. You just turn the big dial. Our tuning dial in ham radio is called a VFO. Okay, so we tune the VFO, the big knob, that changes frequency. See, as I spin this, the frequency is going to change. All right. So the beautiful part of using a radio like this is what you can hear out of it. Now, this is on VHF. Let's listen to the signal briefly, and I'll do my best to let you hear it, okay? And see, what are you missing? You're missing static, right? You're missing static. Now, you'll hear that on the HF bands, all right? When you're working 1.8 to 30 megahertz, even 50 megahertz up on 6 meters, you're going to hear static, and sometimes it's hard to work the stations. But you can do it. And sometimes the hardest ones to hear are the ones that are the farthest away. And when you make those calls, it's a phenomenal feeling. It's just a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And for the folks in the comment section, I promise I will get to you. I promise. The whole passion, the whole purpose of the show is for people that would like to get into ham radio and have questions and just don't know how to get in. Well, that's the radios. Those are some radios, and that's just a sampling, just a small sampling of the radios you can get. 90 antenna, right? And you're wondering, well, okay, so I've got a radio. What's an antenna look like? Here's one. This one comes out of the UK. It's called the DX Commander Classic. It's a beautiful antenna. See how stealthy it is? You can't really almost see it there. It's in a very small area, and it fits. And this will work you just about any HF band you want to work, if you want to work. Down on, let's say, 80 meters, you want to work on that AM dial, right? At the end of your car, you'd be between 3,500 and 4,000. That would be what you'd look like on your car. So this will do that. It can work you up on 40 meters, which is 7,000 on that same car radio, up to 7.250, so 7,250 on the car radio. All right. It can work you up on 20 meters, which is a great daytime band. We love 20 meters during the day, and you can work continents on both 40 meters and 20. 20 meters starts, if you were using that same car radio, at 14,000 even. So 14,000, okay, if the radio went that high. And it would end at 14,350. So that's 20 meters, okay? You can also cut the length of the antenna for 17 meters or 15 or 12 or 10. It's a wonderful antenna. You can even cut it for 6 meters and either work FM or work upper sideband. It's just a great antenna, and it's affordable. This antenna will cost you, shipped from the UK, about $300. That's it. And you get such performance. I believe this is the best antenna buy there is in ham radio today. A $300 antenna that fits almost anywhere, that's easy to assemble. And the gentleman who makes this antenna, name is Callum McCormick. He's from DX Commander. You can find him at www.dxcommander.co.uk. And he's a really good guy to work with. He'll help you. If you're new, tell him you're new, and he will really go out of his way to help you, all right? If you're looking more on the kind of like the high-end commercial market, high-gain antennas makes what's called an AV680. This antenna will work 9 different bands, all right? So it automatically does everything for you. You just put it up, and then it works. And it's a really good antenna. Both Callum's antenna that I just showed you here, the DX Commander Classic, as well as the high-gain AV680, which is this antenna right here, will all go up to full legal limit in the US, which is 1,500 watts. If you're in the UK, you can go to 400 watts, and trust me, at 400 watts, you can work the world. You can work the world at 100 watts. Let's say you have really bad HOAs. Maybe that's the worry. You're thinking, well, I can't put one of these antennas up because I live in a subdivision and they won't let me put something like that up. Well, will they let you put this up? Look at that. That's a flagpole. That's an antenna too. And that has worked me all the way from Spain to New Zealand from Oregon. No joke. That is a ham radio antenna. It's made by Greyline Performance out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Find them at Greyline Performance on the internet. They're just a fantastic company. Tell them you're new to ham radio. They'll help you with what you need. Now, if you buy something like this, if you're in an HOA or someplace that's got some strong CCNRs, right, you're going to need a tuner at this antenna to make it work properly. So something to start you out with, maybe the MFJ 926B. This will handle up to 300 watts of power. And you can use 300 watts, and I'm telling you, you can work the world with 300 watts. You really can. If you're using maybe, say, I don't know, let's say you're using the ICOM 7100, right? And you want a good antenna for it, and you'd like to make sure everything works right, but you're not quite getting all the performance you'd like. You can get a tuner, an external tuner that will help to tune it and make it work better. It's great. This antenna tuner works lightning quick, and it's affordable. This is under $140. I think it's the best buy on the market for a tuner. I really do. It's made by a company called MFJ. They are out of Starkville, Mississippi, here in the U.S. So they do a lot of U.S. components, and most of the stuff is hand-built. Really, they still hand build just about everything they make. MFJ 998, and this thing is a lightning quick antenna tuner. So if you have one of those antennas and they're not quite working on a band, just plug this into your radio and it'll make everything happy. And what can you do when you've done all of this? Here's my logbook. This is just a portion of my logbook, okay? This is things I've done from Oregon here, okay? Look at the countries. Let me kind of zoom you in just a little bit if I can. Okay, so you can kind of just get an idea. These are just people I've been very grateful to work, around the world. Australia, Japan, Canada, all over the United States. If I kind of zoom it out, you'll see Australia again, lots of them, Hawaii, Spain, South Cook Islands, and all the way at the top, being cut off a little bit. If I can get it to move, there we go. At the very top, New Zealand. This is what you can do in ham radio. And you can do this with 100 watts. Really, you can do it with only 100 watts. With any of those radios, if you're interested in getting ham radio, 100 watts can work you the entire world as long as you get a good antenna. The key, I think, is to first maybe get yourself onto a VHF, UHF rig, so get your first license. In the United Kingdom, it's called the Foundation. In the U.S., it's called the Technician license, okay? And both of them, they're very obtainable. All you do is study a little bit, you'll get it. My father-in-law, 84 years old, always wanted to be a ham radio operator. He took this test, he passed both the Technician and General on the first try. Really. So that's why I'm saying if you get a hold of someone like, say, the American Radio Relay League at www.arl.org, or perhaps if you're in Great Britain, the Radio Society of Great Britain at www.rsgb.org, man, just tell them you want to get into ham radio and they'll help you. They really will. Then start out with the original license and get yourself onto a VHF, UHF transceiver, something like maybe this one here, the ICOM 7100, and start to get to know people in your area in ham radio. Tell them you're new. They'll help you. A lot of them will have maybe components that might help you get better in your ham shack. And they may give them to you, or they could sell them at such a reasonable price that it's just really worth it. That's a great way to start in ham radio. Start by meeting people locally. And you can do that with like a radio like this on VHF and UHF, because those work fairly local. That's point to point. So you might hit a repeater and work someone 50 miles away, but you also have a very good chance of talking to someone 10 miles away. So these are local people in your area on ham radio. Once you start doing that and you start to get to know people, you start to build knowledge and you start to gain. That's the importance. And then when you want to work the HF bands, you just keep studying up a little bit for the next license class. If you have the passion, you can do it. You really can. Ham radio is a very obtainable thing to do in your life. It is. Don't put it off, because right now the sunspots are coming. For the next 4 or 5 years, things are only going to get great. So don't miss this opportunity. The time is now to contact a radio club near you. And again, you can do so by getting a hold of someone like the Radio Amateurs of Canada, www.rac.org. Or if you're down in Australia, perhaps you want to get a hold of the Wireless Institute of Australia, www.wia.org. They'll help you. They really will. But get into ham radio now, because it is really the time to do it. Don't put it off, my friends. It's doable, okay? If you have a question about it, maybe you want to, know a little more about costs or products, or, maybe how things work, I'd be honored to hear from you. Please feel free and contact me by email, cqhamradiolive@gmail.com. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. That's for all people who would like to get into ham radio. And I hope you guys enjoyed that segment, because we need you. We really do. And we'd love to have you here in the hobby. All right. Let's catch up with some folks from around the world. Sean is here from east of the Cascades in Oregon. His ham radio call sign, Alpha India 7 Echo Quebec. Sean, as always, my neighbor, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Oh, my. Rod's here from South Salem, Oregon. Call sign Kilo 7 Lima Alpha Papa. Rod, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming. Sean, love you, buddy. 2 Echo 0 X-Ray Bravo Tango. Always a pleasure to see you, and thank you for coming. IT Guy, K6 Union India is here from California. Welcome to the show. Nice to see you. Nikolai, all the way in Romania, came to say a quick hello. Nikolai, thank you for coming. Great to see you. Will Myers is here from the state of Wisconsin. Kilo Alpha 8 Golf India Mike. And Johan here all the way from Barcelona, Spain. His call sign Echo Alpha 3014-SWL. Johan, good to see you, man. Hello, my friend in Spain. It's always good to see you. Thanks for coming today. Ham Radio Live is really about trying to help people to get on the air and really inspire you to do so. This is the greatest hobby in the world. My goodness gracious. Get a hold of a ham radio club and start studying. It's well worth it. Let me show you something pretty cool. Not many people make this call. I can tell you I haven't. I would love to do this, but I haven't been able to yet. It's aeronautical mobile. Now, if you're in the UK, this is something you can't do. If you're a ham radio operator, you can't go in an airplane and make calls. However, you can reach somebody who's in an airplane making calls. Let's take a look at this. This is actually ham radio from an airplane pilot making a call by phone. So this guy's literally on the microphone for quite a long time talking to a ham on the ground. Take a look at this.
Way out in front of me, a little bit behind me, and I do okay to the side. But of course that works right out for airplanes because we want to talk where we're going anyway. So going out in front of us, it works pretty well.
Yeah, I often thought, like during the war, if them guys had just had some little horizontal antennas on their planes, they could have talked to each other in formation, and never, anybody else would be able to copy it early.
That's a pretty cool technique. I'm amazed at how much I find out from the guys as I've gotten into this. It's just amazing. It's helped my radio technique quite a bit. Over.
Roger that. So now you're going to be airborne for the next how many hours?
It's going to be another 2 hours and 27 minutes from now.
Oh, to make it to Mexico?
Oh yeah.
What's your plane?
It's Canada Regional Jet. We're trucking along at right now Mach 7.4, which is about 500 miles per hour.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Hey, I'm running a tape on this. Maybe I can get it to you so you can hear yourself.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you don't want to? I'll destroy it then.
No, I don't care. I'm the captain, and I've asked the captain if I can use the HF radio, and he said it's okay.
Yeah, well, I would not want to cause you any problems. I just thought you might be interested in how well you're sounding.
No, that's all right. I appreciate it. You can keep it for your own personal use. That's quite. A lot of people, whenever I chime in aeronautical mobile, everyone wants to get a hit. So after a while, it turns into net control for a little bit, just so everyone can get their log call over.
Roger that. Well, I think the 10 meters is kind of dead right now, as far as Skip's concerned. So I think you're making it all on ground wave.
Yeah, probably are. I know sometimes leaving out of Detroit, we can pick up some of the Bahamas early on, but today it's not doing too well at all. We're approaching probably 100 miles from you now, and the distance and the fact that your radio's warmed up coming in really strong, you're probably 5, 8, 5, 9 by now.
Roger that. And so let's see, you're cruising at about 500 miles an hour?
Roughly, yeah.
I'm amazed you don't get any signal buffeting or anything passing through wavelengths at that speed.
Say that again, I'm not sure I got my mind wrapped around that.
Well, I was thinking, like as you're slicing through the air, you're intercepting various forms of this transmission on a wavelength basis. So I guess it's so fast, like if you're in a car, you'd probably hear it go shh, 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 like that, but you're going so fast, it's just white noise.
Yeah, there's no picket sensing for us. Ours is more weather-driven. Thunderstorms mess with us a lot, and a big stratus layer will kind of interfere, or we can pick up on it. And temperatures actually during the climb sometimes gives us more of a picket sensing than anything else. Over.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, Roger that. Now, okay, so you were at like 120 miles now. You're 100 miles from me.
We're approaching 80 now. Over.
Roger. So, how you come very close, right? And then you swing west?
Almost directly south the whole time. We're going over. So we're going to go between Louisville and Cherahoots, down by. Let me get my map here. After Indianapolis, it's going to be Evansville, near Memphis, and Little Rock, Shreveport, Houston. Over.
Ah, interesting. So probably maybe at some point my horizontal may work out for.
So there you go. That's from an airplane, from the cockpit. Now, that's not the pilot. That would probably be the control officer, maybe the communications officer, something like that. But, or could be the co-pilot, but they had the pilot's permission. And guess what? Only working at 10 watts. That's it. That's where he's at, 10 watts on 10 meters, so 10 on 10. Here's another one. Now, this one comes from Germany, and this poor guy, he tried so hard, and I do think he got the call. I just think that he gave his call a little slow and didn't realize that the pilot did hear him and gave him a signal report. I'd like to get your feedback on this. I'd love to hear what you think of this. But before I do that, something that's common to the show that we do is we talk about trivia questions. And no one got this one yesterday. Here's the question. What does MOSFET stand for? Does it stand for A, mu-operated semiconducting field effect transistor? Is it B, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor? Is it C, metal on silicon Faraday effect transducer? Or D, memory-operated semiconductor field effect transistor? Pick one of the four. Let me know, A, B, C, or D. And we'll see how you do today on the trivia question, all right? Also, I do have some great news for you in AM radio. Really neat stuff to share with you. First of all, let me get this. And oh, my gosh, already. And you know what? This is neat. Because this now puts, will this be for Bahrain or the U.S.? I got to ask. Bahrain or the U.S.? Tom first on the board. B, it is metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. That's correct. Comes from Tom, and then now they're all coming in. Look at Tom first, then Will Myers, then Kevin in the UK. So Tom, is it for the? Is this one going to come from Bahrain side, or is it going to come from the US side? Because you got call signs in both areas. So I got to ask the question, for goodness sakes. Everybody write in B right away. That's pretty cool. I got a great trivia question for you tomorrow. I hope you like it. It's really kind of funny too. So I hope it's something that you'll enjoy. Solar conditions right now. Well, there's a coronal hole that's coming, and the solar wind is picking up, and it is starting to go southwest. So this could bring some problems to the HF bands. Current conditions, 79 now for the SFI. Solar number is a 59. That's 59 for the solar sunspot number. Not big. It will get better. Like I said, over the next few years, it's going to get better and better, and we'll be in the hundreds very, very soon. Right now, the 6-meter skip is available. So is 4 meters. We have very quiet conditions. K is only at 1. It's dropped since yesterday, so good stuff. World map of noise floors. For new people, noise floors means static level. Think of it that way. The lowest amount of static you'll hear on the S meter of your radio. So it's got a meter on it, and it's going to drop at a certain point. This is where that needle drops, okay? Currently, we'll start with Hawaii. 40 meters S3. On 20 meters, it's at S1. In the United States and Canada, S3 is all the way through. South America, 40 meters is S1 and 20 meters is S1 out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. In Argentina, 40 meters is S3 and 20 meters S1. In Europe, we've got a pair of S3s in England, and we have an S2 and an S2 in Germany today. In Russia, S3 on 40, S2 on 20. In China, we're a 40 meter S5, 20 meter S5. So a little loud there in South Asia. In Japan, 40 meters is an S2, 20 is an S3. Australia, pair of 3s on 40 and 20 meters. And in New Zealand, noise floor on 40 meters is S2, and it's 20 meter S1. Now, I will tell you, in North America, a lot of noise, especially 40. 40's noisy, 80's tremendously noisy, really bad. Okay? Maximum usable frequencies around the world. This is big. Look at Athens. It's dark there, 25.32. And that number before was at like 21 and change earlier this morning. It went up. So that means 20 meters should be really good tonight. Boulder, Colorado, maximum usable frequency. And for new people like me in the hobby, that means about the highest frequency you can use to make point-to-point contact over the ionosphere. That's what it means by bouncing up your signals off of the Earth's ionosphere. That's the frequency, about the highest one you can use to make it work. So you want to work close to that number. That's the best way. Boulder, Colorado is at 19.05 megahertz. Alaska is at 12.7, so it's down quite a bit. Darwin, Australia at 6.59. In Jeju Island, 11.86, and in South Africa, 10.21. Ascension Island, still up there at 18.60. Forecast today on the ham bands. I think 20 and 17 still should be good. E-skip on 10 for sure, and possible E-skip, I think, on 4 meters today and 6 meters. CW and data today on 40 through 4. I think we probably could go 160 to 4. I think so. But let me tell you, 160 is really noisy. So is 80. There's so much noise. But data does good with noise. So honestly, I think we should make a change to that. Let's just make it 160 to 4. Really. Ham nighttime frequencies, 160 meters, 80, 75, 60, 40, 30, and I still give a 90% chance of SSB on 20 meters, and that's going to be until after midnight. Now, the SSB in the North American continent, just to give you an idea, just before sunset, an hour before, you'll start working in Europe. You really will. And about just after sunset, that'll stop. Give yourself about an hour after sunset, all of a sudden VK stations start coming in. So Europe, about an hour before sunset, VK and ZL, which is your New Zealand stations, start coming in about an hour after sunset. That's how it should work on 20 tonight. Shortwave bands, daytime, 31, 25, 22, 16, and 19 meters. Should be good tonight. Heard some great stuff on 19 last night. It works. So shortwave people, don't worry about using 19 at night. It actually did brilliantly. It was brilliant last night on 19 meters. Shortwave nighttime, we've got 120, 90, 75, 60, 49 with a lot of noise. 41, 31, 22. Noise starts to go away at about 31. So you can get 19. You will get 19 tonight. That'll be the forecast for you, okay? Got some interesting news information for you. This is really cool, and I haven't talked about it. And I've really been saying, why haven't you talked about this? There's a great Light Cube satellite set to launch in late 2022. NASA is doing this really cool project called Light Cube, along with 13 other small research satellites, to fly as auxiliary payloads aboard rockets launching between 2022 and 2025. The launch opportunity is provided through NASA's CubeSat launch initiative. Now, this is really, really cool, okay? The way it works is you literally know the frequency that this little Light Cube satellite is working on, right? You send a 4-digit code up to it, and it's going to send a bright pair of flashes down from the satellite to Earth. So literally, you're going to ping it, and it's going to send light down to you immediately. This is really a neat project, helped designed by Arizona State University. How it's going to work, a radio amateur with a handheld transceiver will wait until the satellite's roughly overhead, as determined by a smartphone or computer app. The user is going to transmit a predetermined number code, and if Light Cube is charged, it will flash. The satellite then requires 30 seconds to recharge the capacitor that fires the xenon light tubes. At this point, no frequencies have been coordinated yet for Light Cube, but I'll make sure and keep you updated on that, because that's going to be pretty important stuff. Light Cube, I think that is going to be so stinking cool. Friedrichshafen is still on in Europe. This is going to be on the 25th through the 27th. It's virtual. Just get on the internet and find them. The DARC website has all the information about Friedrichshafen this year. Big contest as well in Europe for that. So that'll be fun. Same weekend as Field Day. ARL Field Day is June 26th, June 27th. Time to take your ham radio out in the world to show people what it looks like and how it works. Please do that. That's going to be on June 26th, June 27th of 2021. Contact the American Radio Relay League if you have information you'd like to get on that, because that's going to be a very fun time and a great contest that goes along with that as well. So, should be fun. Should be fun. Neat stuff here. So we've got some folks that have worked Aeronautica Mobile. Let's take a look real quick. First of all, Tom, he said it was a real early treat when he worked Aeronautica Mobile. It was in the early days of his ham radio experience. He said he worked at A320 over Spain. It was a wahoo moment for him. That's pretty cool. And then Sean also did it as well. He did it under his foundation call. Mike 6, Sierra Kilo Papa. 10 watts. He was very, very pleased. In fact, what he did was he worked a Boeing 747, And he says he still thinks he has the video on his YouTube channel. Find that at 2 Echo 0 X-Ray Bravo Tango. Just put that in your YouTube search, 2 Echo 0 X-Ray Bravo Tango. And you'll find Sean's content. That'll be cool. Thanks, Sean. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Sean also worked ZL3OZ on 50 watts the other night, 11,000 miles plus, only 2x2 signal, but it made the call. It doesn't matter as long as it gets there, man. And that's what I say for people who would like to be in ham radio. Seriously, you know, sometimes it's full of static and it's hard to hear the signal. But those are the golden ones sometimes. And you make that call and then you look at the map and you see where it's at and you're astounded what you just got to do. That's what makes it special. I love ham radio. I really do. William Myers, goodbye to you. Thank you for coming from Wisconsin. Kilo Alpha 8 Golf India Mike. Thank you very, very much. RT Music Production, good question. Anyone using brick amp handhelds? If anybody is using those, please put it in the comments section, all right? That'd be cool. All right, going to talk to one more Aeronautical Mobile. This is kind of neat. This comes from Germany. I swear that the guy got him. I really do. I just think that the ham that was using it, he's very good. Technically, very, very good. He waits his turn, which is awesome. But I think that he was speaking so slowly that I think the pilot got him before his transmission was over, and I think he missed it. So take a look. Let's see what you think. This is pretty cool. This is over Germany, working an airline pilot outside in the field. Here you go.
November, Quebec 4 India, airplane mobile, KRZ.
Delta Oscar 1, Delta Juliet Juliet Portable.
KRZ, Norway Queen 4 India, air mobile.
Delta Oscar 1, Delta Juliet Juliet Portable.
Charlie. OE3 X-ray, Mike Charlie, big signal, you're 5 at 9 plus plus, over. 5 9 plus 40 here, over Vienna. Thanks a lot, Salas please, and have a safe flight. All right, very good, thank you very much. 73 is a good DX and a good weekend. This is Norway Queen 4 India, airplane mobile, KRZ.
Delta Oscar 1, Delta Juliet Juliet Portable.
Hello, Sugar, 9 plus plus, over.
Yeah, obviously.
We're at 43,000 feet over Croatia. Bye-bye in 73. Big signal. Great sounding signal. November, Quebec 4 India, air mobile, KRZ.
Delta Oscar 1, Delta Juliet Juliet Portable.
Charlie 59.
Ja. Normal geht ja. Die haben schon öfters.
Very good. Delta Ocean 5, Alpha Bravo Charlie. Thank you very much. What airplane did you fly? Oh my goodness. No, I don't do that. I'm flying the jet, but no jumping off the mountain. Go ahead. Goodness. Wow. Amazing. Thank you very much, my friend. Good luck. 73s to you. Mexico 0, Hotel X-Ray Alpha 59. 73, Norway Queen 4 India, air mobile, KRZ.
Delta Oscar 1, Delta Juliet Juliet Portable.
Uniform, Victor Uniform 59. Yes, thank you. This is Oscar Echo number 3. Oscar Echo 3, Romeo Victor Uniform. You're also 5'9". Thank you very much. Good luck. Thank you, 73. November, Quebec 4 India, Aeronautical Mobile, KRZ.
Delta Oscar 1, Delta Juliet Juliet Portable.
Alpha Whiskey Juliet 59.
Delta Oscar 1, Delta Juliet Juliet Portable 59.
November, Quebec 4 India, Aeronautical Mobile. Delta Lima 2, Alpha Lima Charlie 59.
Hat er mich jetzt oder nicht? Nein, ne? Hat irgendwas mit Juliet gehabt.
Thank you, Joe, at 73s. All right, folks, I'm going to have to QRT and get back to work. Thank you very much, 73s.
There you go. That's pretty cool. I do think he got it. I think he got the call. I do. I think he got the call. He just maybe missed the end of it. That was all. Yeah. By the way, RT Music Production, I think it'd be great. Simply, if you'd like to get a hold of me on the YouTube email here, please do so. I'd love to help you out if I can. Or if I can't, I'll refer you to someone who can. I promise you. The show email is cqhamradiolive@gmail.com. And RT Music Production, I sincerely mean it when I say we'd like to welcome you into ham radio. That's pretty darn sweet. That's really cool. All right, I'm going to show you guys, before we go, a live QSO. We haven't done it for a long time, so we did a show Saturday, but this is new. This is on VHF. So for new hams, people who haven't maybe seen, how ham radio works, we'll wrap it up by doing a quick little VHF QSO. We call it QSO. So here's the 991. We'll make a quick little call to say hello, and we'll see where this gentleman's from. Should be fairly close. Here we go.
Mona for like 20 years now. He's been living in Upland, and because he has to drive to LA for work every day.
Kilo 7 Hotel.
He knows everybody, man. He actually ran. He was the CEO for Boys and Girls Club for that Pomona area and Brea and Orange County. Actually, after he moved on from his citizen, his county, council seat area.
Kilo 7 Hotel, November. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is Larry. Appreciate you being on the show. Thank you for coming on. I've got to ask you, what's your call sign in QTH? Over.
My call sign is Kilo Juliet 7, Mike Charlie November. That's KJ7MCN, and I'm located in the Thurston area of Springfield, Oregon.
QSL, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming back. That's good 65 miles away. I'm in Independence. That's my QTH. I appreciate you coming back on the show. You're on Ham Radio Live right now. Do you have any advice for new hams? We have some that are watching the show right now that would be loving to hear maybe somebody who's been in the hobby, their opinion of what to do when you get into ham radio. Over.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Gabriel as KG6HMN. He might have some advice, really good advice to give you. He's been involved with ham radio a lot longer than I have.
Kilo Golf 6 Hotel, Mike November. I'm located in the Whitaker area in Eugene, and if I have any advice, I would encourage those new hams to get involved in a club, get involved in a local ham radio club, and part of the spirit of ham radio is that we would mentor, and we call it Elmering. You would Elmer another younger operator. And we've been fortunate to have really good, teachers, and that's been a great thing. Microphone back to the live show.
QSL, thanks, Gabriel, and thank you too, Mike. Gosh, I appreciate you guys both very much. I'm going to close here at this point. That's great advice, and it's funny because I just said that on the show, so that's two saying the same thing. Guys, thank you very much for letting me jump into your conversation. To you both, I hope you have a great Tuesday. This is Kilo 7, Hotel November. I'll be QRT. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Larry. Glad to help. Kilo 7, Hotel November. This is KJ7MCN Clear.
And there you go. That is a quick little contact on VHF. Yeah, that would be point to point. So again, these are antennas to antennas, most likely through a repeater. So because VHF has, a range of maybe 50 miles, and that would be right about there. Springfield, Eugene, Oregon are right about 50 miles away, so it could be point to point. That was nice to meet both of them. I'd like to thank them both for coming on the show. And again, great advice. And here's one from Sean. And Sean is a full class in the UK, so this is as high as you can go in amateur radio. I want to keep this on here because I think it's a really good piece of advice. Sean's comment here, great advice. Contact your local club or radio organization. If you want to be in ham radio, there's a lot of people who will help you. They really are. And they want to. They really do. They like to help people out. And a lot of times they have spare things they can help you with. Maybe it's coaxial cable. It might be a spare tuner. It could be something that maybe you can get fairly inexpensively even. So please don't worry about starting out and not having enough information. We all started out that way. You just learn by learning from other people, and you learn from your mistakes too. So please understand that. You'll learn from a lot of your mistakes, okay? It's okay to make mistakes. I want to thank you all for coming to the show today. It's truly been a joy to spend today with you, and my hope honestly, is that one person saw this video and gets into ham radio because of it. If you do, would you let me know? Because that would sure make me thrilled. You can get a hold of me at cqhamradiolive@gmail.com. We do the show every day right about 1 o'clock p.m. in the Pacific time zone, which is 20 UTC or 20 Greenwich Mean Time, so 20 hours in London. Okay. If you would like to see the show sometime soon live, that's about the time to see it. And I always try to make it on time. Sometimes it's hard. But anyway, radio clubs to start you off. Again, I want to give you the list before we close. The American Radio Relay League is a great club. They will help you. They're a group of people out of Newark, Connecticut. Hit the Contact Us section of their page. Fill it out. Let them know you are. They'll try and help you, all right? If you're in Japan, the Japan Amateur Radio League will do the exact same thing. Whether you speak Japanese or English, they'll help you. Find them at www.jarl.org. In Great Britain, my favorite radio group of all, right there, the Radio Society of Great Britain. Find them at www.rsgb.org. In Canada, they can help you as well. If you're up in Canada, contact the Radio Amateurs of Canada at www.rac.ca. In Australia, where we love our mates down there. That's my favorite call to make. It still is. Find the Radio Wireless Institute of Australia at www.wia.org. All right, we'll close with a great sign-off. We always end the show like the old days with a television sign-off. Today's comes out of Tallahassee, Florida. I hope you enjoy it. Until tomorrow around 20 UTC. My name's Larry. My call sign is Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. I'm located in Oregon, and it's been my pleasure and honor to spend this time with you today. I really, really hope it helps somebody out. Until tomorrow, God bless you, and goodbye, everybody.
This is WTWC Channel 40 in Tallahassee, Florida. WTWC studios and transmitter are located at 8440 Deer Lake Road in Killorn Lakes Plantation. WTWC TV is owned and operated by Holt Robinson Television Incorporated and operates on the assigned carrier frequency of 627.26 and 631.76 megahertz. Portions of today's programs were pre-recorded. We hope you've enjoyed this day of telecasting on WTWC Channel 40, NBC from Tallahassee. Good night.